Hi, I'm Steve Shelburne, owner and operator of Shelburne RV here in beautiful Cleveland, Tennessee. Well, good morning. Welcome back, Shelburne RV. Back here on a bright Tuesday morning. Hope everybody had a great holiday weekend with your family. So I'm down here moving a camper. We had a customer drop one off right in front of our gate, 4 o'clock this morning. He had the key on me, so just now got that done. So they had them stacked up out here this morning trying to get in because somebody blocked the gate on me. So we're good to go this morning, but a little bit of a short week this week. Do have a basement air coming in tomorrow, and the boys have several projects we're working on up there. So let's go up here and see what's going on. All right, 6537 that came in for repair last year. Customer just now got us paid on it. Compressor 2 has been changed out. So amp draw on compressor 2 is going to be lower than amp draw on compressor 1. Everything's working correctly. 22 degrees differential. And this one's ready to ship out. All right, so Mr. Lewis is working on this Winnebago Adventure gas burner, and the basement air, he had a fella work on this thing and put a bearing on the fan motor. Well, they didn't get the fan blade lined up correctly, so then it was making all kinds of noise and chattering, and so he brought it in for that. Of course, the drain was plugged up in the evap coil. The coils are nasty. I've gone through and put those hard start kits on there. We're going to go back with the correct Coleman parts on that. But yeah, just doing it was running, but it was just chattering really loudly. So Mr. Lewis is going to, and the duct, you said the ductwork wasn't even really attached, was it?
No, it was not.
So the ductwork wasn't even attached. So it's just kind of a botched job on what was done here. But Lewis is getting them all cleaned up, getting the drains all cleaned up, and then we'll put it back in here and change that. Now, the bearing, he put just the OEM bearing on there, and you guys know how I feel about that. So Lewis will be changing that out with a sealed ball bearing because we want to go back and make that right. So just give him a good bath, clean it up, and then we'll readjust that fan blade and update some caps and the bearing. Here's the fan motor, and you can see they went back with the standard bearing. But if you can look at that blade, I don't know if you can see it or not, the fan blade's warped. See how badly warped that fan blade is? Now, that is the case a lot of times with these metal ones. You have to be real careful because they'll seize up over time on here, and then the fan blade gets a little crooked. Now those two boxes right there have got new fan blades in them, but they've gone with plastic blades. So Lewis will have to get that blade. He's going to try to straighten it back out a little bit, but if not, it may end up having to have a blade on there. But yeah, so that little bit of movement you see right there, of course, this fan blade wobbling is into the case, and it's just making a terrible noise. So, again, just didn't, a little bit of detail work on some of this stuff, and makes it a little bit nicer, but Mr. Lewis will get him all fixed up. This little Coachman Capri camper that had floor damage, you can see the boys have got the vacuum bonded floor out of it, and they've gone in here and repaired all this, and of course there's a couch that sits in right there. They've got the linoleum out. Well, they've got some new linoleum they're going to be putting down here in a minute. But, yeah, just trying to get that all solved. They got it done so fast I couldn't get a video of it. All right, so got another basement air picked up, and you see them right there. They're from Southern Illinois. Drove all the way down. Let's get their basement air all fixed up. So he picked up just a few minutes ago, and he's on his way back to Illinois. So safe travels. Okay, so we're going to do something here that's a little bit of a rarity today. You guys always see me on the video, and I'm always doing the video, but you never see this one. She usually doesn't like to be on the videos, but something that we've always tried to show here at Shelburne RV, especially because this is a small family business, and we are just a family run operation, and something that just kind of is really been a struggle for us here the last couple of days, and and Jan and I really spent a lot of time kind of talking about it. And, you know, it's just the struggles of a small business. And you hear me talk about this, and you guys see it firsthand, and you see what goes on in the small business world. And, you know, yesterday I was having a conversation with a customer about a basement iron, and the customer told me that he could buy it online and he could buy it cheaper than what I could pay for it. And so after investigating, it was actually one of my suppliers. You know, guys, there's RV suppliers out here that wholesale to the RV industry, and they're supposed to be giving us pricing where, as a small business, we can actually make a little bit of money on those parts, because if we have to have a warranty or something goes wrong with the part, we have the ability, you know, that kind of helps out with the warranty side of that. So we have to make a little bit of money on our parts. And so we found out our big distributor is wholesaling to the public, which, you know, sucks for us, because here we are trying to make a living. And, you know, everybody, you wouldn't believe the amount of people that come in here. I bet 3 to 5 people a week that come in here asking for a discount every week. You know, I need to have money off, and that's too much money. And, you know, Steve said he'd give me a better price. And, you know, it's happens more and more, and it's happened more this year than I think, would you agree, than we've seen in the past. We've seen more of that this year than we've seen any other time. And you know, guys, you've seen what's going on in the world. Everything's costing more money. Labor costs more money. The power bill's up. Everything's up. And then, you know, because we're a small business, people feel like, oh, well, they're making enough money, they can just give me a discount. So we're seeing more and more and more of that. So we're fighting that battle every day, where people are wanting, you know, money knocked off their bill. Then you got our distributors who now are, you know, selling direct to the public, which is now taking money out of our pocket. And then she had a case yesterday where one of the big insurance companies, which we've been dealing with for 7 years, we got a job down there done, which is a significant piece of money. And the insurance company pretty much told her that they don't have any record of us. Now, understand, we've been dealing with them for 7 years. So she had to resubmit all the W-9s, the tax information. I mean, this ain't the first time we've dealt with these people. So here we are, a small business that needs this, you know, this good chunk of money to help make payroll. And now she's having to jump through all the hoops with the insurance company to get that check sent out. So, you know, that's part of the struggles we got. Then our mobile service team is struggling with, you know, we deal with some of these manufacturers of appliances. Some of them are very, very easy to get warranty claims done on. Others, they run you through the ringer. So we've already gone out and filled out their paperwork. We filled out everything they had that they needed, and now they won't honor their warranty because we didn't get water temp. It wasn't on the checkout list when they went out there the first time. Now I've got to send somebody back out there. The customer's obviously upset because they're having to pay us to come back out, because we, you know, the van runs on fairy dust. You know, I just run it out there and it magically fills itself up with fuel. So, and I got to pay this guy. So, you know, it's very frustrating on that, because now I got a customer that's aggravated with me because we got to go out there again because the manufacturer wants more information. This particular product cannot be fixed. There's no parts available. I just got done going through their training class. It has to be replaced. Just send me another one. Let's take care of the customer. But now we're not taking care of the customer, and I'm having to have this conversation with the customer about how hard it is that we can't get their warranty done. And I don't know, how long have they been out without hot water now?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So they're obviously frustrated. So this is the challenges we're dealing with as a small business, guys. I mean, we're over here doing everything we can to give you a fair price, to give you a fair deal on the labor that it takes to do these jobs. And then, you know, all those things start stacking up, and, you know, it's been very frustrating for her and I. I mean, we've had long conversations about it, and it's very frustrating. So, you know, it's just it's stuff it's weighs on our hearts, because, you know, we're trying to make a living doing this, We're trying to make sure our employees can make a living doing this. But we obviously don't want to be like the big box store and overcharge or have you guys feel like we're just taking advantage of you guys. I mean, we want to give you the best service possible. We want to give you the best repair possible. And all this stuff it just makes it tough. So anyways, just kind of we just wanted to kind of share this morning because it's so frustrating. And I don't know what the right answer is, guys. I mean, I don't know how long a small business with what we do and all the stuff that stacks against you. I don't know how long before that stuff overtakes and you just go, maybe it'd just be better to get a job at the Publix. Food for thought. Next project on the list here is this Winnebago Ellipse. Mr. Lewis is doing the diag on it here, seeing what's going on. So we're going to dive into this and I'll give you an update here in just a second. So Mr. Lewis, this is a 6537. He has determined that compressor 2 is running, but it only had 3 amps. So the charge has gone somewhere. So he's going to pull that out now, and we're going to dive in and see what's going on. All right, Mr. Lewis has got this one opened up, and we're just kind of looking to see where the problems are at. You can see all the oil right here, and he's already bent this back. But when we got in here, look how that was up against there. You can see where it's wore a hole. Let me see. Yeah, see it right there. Right there. So we're going to put some pressure on that just to verify it, but more than likely that's where our leak's at. So we're going to check on this now. All right, so Mr. Lewis has got this 6537 going now. One thing that we went ahead and did, we went ahead and changed compressor 1 also on this one. We got to looking, and somebody had been changing out the capacitors, and when they did, that capacitor was supposed to be 45 UF, and it had a 30 UF in there. They came all the way from Utah, so I don't know. Again, compressor 1 we have a lot of problems with. Compressor 2 failed because it had that leak in it. So I had the conversation with the customer. We went ahead and put a compressor 1 in it also, just because of how far they came. So Lewis is in here doing the testing on it now. Everything, the amp draws are good. We got it all put back together. So we are going to go ahead and change the thermostat. He had a thermostat issue, so we're going to go ahead and change that while we're in there. And then he had an HWH problem on the way out. The controller went dead, and so we went out there yesterday to look at it and pulled the cover off, and it actually had some stuff that had gone nuclear inside the box. So I don't know if the little rubber seal, if you guys have dealt with any of that HWH stuff, the seal that goes around those sometimes is a pain in the butt. So it almost appears like maybe he got some water in there because the seal was kind of rotted. And then, just mess some stuff up. So unfortunately, that box will have to be taken out and shipped back to HWH. They're real good about rebuilding that kind of stuff. They got all the parts. They're not that expensive to do. They've been very easy to do on that. So Lewis is testing that now. We're going to get that back in and retest. Project here in the shop is we've got this Norcold cooling unit that's bad. We're going to be changing that out. But the customer also had a problem with his water tank leaking. And these Winnebagos, as you can see, that's where the water tank's at. And there's a bunch of screws across there, so you got to take that whole plate down to access that. So a little bit involved in diagging that, but we're going to get the refrigerator done first. Another project here in the shop. You saw last week where we were doing the InvisiShield on the back of that Journey. And the gentleman has been having some issues with the Cummins generator with a little bit of an over temp situation. Now, he just wanted us to go in there and change the antifreeze, but we got to doing some investigating and had some conversations with the customer, and that generator's got 1,873 hours on it, and he's owned it since new, and he's never done the 1,000-hour service on it. So, we're like, sir, you've got to do your 1,000-hour service, because, I mean, when we do that, the boys will pull the radiator out, clean the radiator, because it could have a bunch of trash because it sits on the bottom. They go in there and clean the radiator. Thermostat could be an issue. Of course, the belt's the biggest scary part of that. Cummins says you're supposed to change that belt every 1,000 hours. We got 1,873 hours on there. So the belt could be stretched. It could be slipping. You got to do your 1,000-hour service, guys. So that one there, we're quoting out. Of course, it doesn't have a front bonnet that comes off, so you got to actually jack the unit way up and then come up underneath it with a forklift. So it's a little involved, but again, it needs its 1,000-hour service. So Wade's actually working on quoting that out now. All right, so Mr. Lewis has had this one running for an hour or so. Did have to put a new thermostat on here because we were having some issues with that one. Thermostat shows 73, but I can tell you it's mucho cold in here. So we're getting ready to ship this one out. All right, Mr. Jeff's got this old Norcold cooling unit out. Now, obviously, we're going to be going back with the Dutch air cooling unit, but he's in here right now doing some prep work on this, getting it all cleaned up. And Norcold's real bad about, they put thermal mastic around the edge of those. So he's got all that cleaned up, vacuumed up. We're just doing a little tape work because the old tin foil was coming off there. So getting close to putting a cooling unit in this. This little mini plush right here came in with a bad floor. And so they've got the new floor in, and you can see they've got the new nice metal floor installed. So he's just doing a lot of the little sealant job works, just got the fascia back on. Working on getting that done. Now, another little project we got at the shop here is this little travel light on this pickup truck right here. And, you know, a lot of these slide-in campers, this ends up being a problem. And you can see how much rot that's got. So we've got a solution for this, and I'll show you what we got going on here in the next day or so as we start repairing on this to try to make this thing be able to hold its weight up. All right, so here's an interesting one for the day, a little bit of a laughter. You know, when you call me on my cell phone, this is what you get.
You have reached Steve with Shelburne RV, your Coleman Basement Air Specialist. You can learn more about our Coleman Basement Airs at www.colemanbasementair.com. Your call is very important to me. If you leave your name and number and a description of the problem that you are having, I will get back to you just as soon as I am able.
Okay, so, you know, just a normal, you know, this is an RV, basement air, let's, you know, do the appointments. So I get this message, and I'm not going to play the whole thing for you. But kind of, you know, you heard my message, so here you go.
Hi, is this the Justice Rehabilitation Center? If it is, I just want to know, I got a bird nest in my newspaper mailbox, and I think the parents got in a fight and died or something. And the hatchlings, I think there were 5. Now I think there's a 2 or 3.
Not sure what that's about, but evidently, I mean, I hope it works out for the guy, but wasn't listening to the voicemail very carefully. But anyways, my wife and I have had a good laugh about that today. So just thought I'd share. All right, so Mr. Lewis had this Winnebago Journey, came in. It had the 46516-611, so it had the rear fan. It's a little odd unit. We've talked about those before in the past. Customer brought it in, needed some maintenance done on it. It was nasty. It was, the drain was all plugged up in it. Water was up into the fan, clear halfway up in the fan. That's not the unit, but it was halfway up in the fan. And then wanted us to double check everything. Now, that's a problem. So, yeah, filter's nasty. So, yeah, guys got to check those filters every once in a while. So, Mr. Lewis, obviously, look at all this water that's on the floor where that unit was running. That unit was running great. Obviously, the drain was plugged up. It had some pretty nasty stuff going in it, didn't it, Lewis? So he went in there and changed the caps on the fans because one of them, the cap was underwater. There was so much water in the inside of that. So he's actually running it out here. He's got the unit in. I'm going to get him a filter for that first thing in the morning, but this unit's running great. So working on a 10 kW generator, and basically what's happening is when we hold the button, you can hear the fuel pump is cycling, but the starter never engages. And so then what we end up getting is a 3 code here in just a second. So we feel like there's a relay issue that's not working the starter correctly, but we're going to see here in just a second. The project we got on this big Newmar is the slide was not going all the way in. Now you can see that's some damage from this lock, and so this lock is supposed to push up on that assembly, and there's an arm that comes up in there when the slide is closed. Now he has found that there's a spring loose up inside there, and this seems to be froze up a little bit. Reason why we've been in here lubing on it a little bit, but you can see how tight that thing's been pulling, and it's not been pulling that slide lock in. So we're trying to adjust that at the moment. So he's got the generator running now. We've been testing that for over an hour. We did find out that the start relay was bad, and so the controller was calling for it to come on. The fuel pump was doing its thing, but the relay wasn't allowing power to the starter. So he's just doing a test run on that just to verify everything's good on that, but that seemed to be functioning correctly. All right, so that big Mountain Air, they got it. The latch assembly was just bound up and needed to be lubed, so they readjusted, got all that in, so it's working perfectly. This Mini Winnie you saw last week had the floor out of it. Well, the J-wrap was damaged and destroyed also. So as you can see, Mr. Thomas right there has got all that put back together. Just doing some final tweaking on the slide to make sure it works correctly. But yeah, I got that done and got the Mountain Air, got that latch assembly working. So when the slide goes in, all that's doing correctly and it's not binding up. So that one there with the generator and the slide is about to be done. All right, so a couple weeks ago, you saw a video called The Slide Won't Go In. Now, you saw in that video where all this tubing was damaged from that actuator spinning around. So now all the parts have come in. You can see what that looks like when it's brand new. So they're gonna start tearing in this and start mounting that one up underneath the slide floor. Got this little slide-in camper, and you know how these slide-in campers are about the jacks rotting out, the wood having problems and doing what it's doing. So we've actually fabricated some bracketry here that we're going to be putting in there to help support that. So when the jack is holding everything up, it puts all the weight on here. The gentleman doesn't want to spend a ton of money rebuilding all this, but we have a solution for that, and we'll show you what we're doing here in just a second. All right, so we got the bracket all fabricated. He's getting the holes drilled. Now see, all that weight's carried, instead of it being right here in this post, it's gonna have some strength across there. Of course, they're gonna lag bolt all this, get all the brackets on there. But this will be a lot better because the wood obviously is a little compromised behind there, and he didn't want to spend a lot of money, but this way it's all right there supporting it. So he's gonna get that all bolted up now. All right, well, that's gonna finish us up here this week at Shelburne RV. Of course, we had quite a bit going on, as you saw here in the shop, and got a bunch on our plates for next week. So just trying to get as much video as I can get done, you know, during the day. But the boys obviously are moving through the stuff as quickly as they can. So that's the way that goes some days. But this guy right here has actually been hanging out with me today.
Yep.
So what's been going down at the office this week? Was the phones ringing a bunch this week, Gary?
Oh yeah, customers, phones.
I went down there at one point and Gary was actually banging his head against one of the desks down there. That's how many phone calls he gets. And he gets so overwhelmed because you guys all like calling and talking to him. I mean, he's the true celebrity right there.
Well, yeah.
So a lot of phone calls though, huh?
Oh yes.
Yeah. Well, very good. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for all the comments from last week. And remember that this video is always
Cousin Gary approved.
You guys take care. Have a great weekend.